Hello and welcome to today's Abhigyan International. We'll talk about the big cabinet expansion, reshuffle, and the big makeover really of the Narendra Modi government by himself. Now there are several issues that are going to be discussed, and of course it will be analyzed. But I'll focus on what I feel are few very important points in this Abhigyan's point. Number one, what seems to be the big message out of this is not about those who've been inducted in the government, but actually about those who've been shown the door by Narendra Modi. First point, admitting that there was bad handling, inefficient handling of the second layer of COVID, and therefore we see Dr. Harshvardhan, the health minister, out of his job. Secondly, very important, and this of course has ramifications of international image, international politics, etc. The spat with Twitter. Could there have been another way out? Of course, there is no debate on the fact that anyone who's operating in this country has to follow the laws of this country. But Ravi Shankar Prasad's exit also shows that could there have been a better handling of the situation. That's point number two. Point number three, I'm just talking of those people who have actually been out of this government, are people who are now clearly being told by the Narendra Modi government and Narendra Modi that if you don't perform, you perish. You don't perform, you perish. The second point, of course, is there's a clear generational shift. Very clear generational shift. A huge makeover, a huge image makeover for the government. And this, of course, also explains that next 6 to 7 months are very crucial for all these leaders to prove themselves and to also tell to the people in like an outreach program that you see of corporates, to tell what the government is doing and how well the government is doing. So clearly there was concern that the image of the government has taken a hit. It has been suffering, and there needs a new look, a makeover, and of course an effort to outreach and tell what the government is doing. Third point, very clear, absolutely well worked out political maths, political mathematics, focusing on the election. Top priority, big priority, of course, the 2022 Uttar Pradesh elections, but also focusing on other states. It's very clear that you have to focus on election, and the representation of people in the government has to be politically calculated according to that, even for states like Gujarat. So UP is a priority, but that doesn't mean others are not. So you calculate, you make the composition in such a way that it clearly tells you that every side is represented. And fourth point, very important, this is clearly a situation where the tone and now the route is towards backward politics, the dominance of backward politics within this government, within the Narendra Modi cabinet, and of course then seeing that you take political benefits out of it in each and every state, and the number of people you have actually inducted in the cabinet and the faces that you're given to backward politics. You make sure that that yields political results for you eventually. So these are clearly 4 points to me which make a huge difference to the Narendra Modi government. Of course, the question will always be asked, how far does it impact and what benefits it gets eventually. But for now, it is clear that there is an admission, there were problems, you have to make that arrangement look new. That is exactly what has been done. You have to take away the faces who are not performing or because of whom there was criticism of the government. You have to take that out. You have to bring in new faces. You have to make it look young. You have to make sure that there's a generational shift. And most importantly, you have to make sure that backward politics is adequately represented, and it looks like this BJP, which is traditionally once upon a time known as an upper caste party, does not look the same anymore. In fact, these efforts have been made in the past as well, but they have been reinforced now, and these are, for me, the key points of the Narendra Modi cabinet reshuffle expansion. And of course, it will be very keenly watched as far as the coming election goes, which includes, as I said, the big priority of Uttar Pradesh. That's my point.